Hey, what's up you guys? My name is Clarissa. Welcome to my channel. So this video has actually been like quite a long time in the making. I've been wanting to make a video about Hashimoto's and about like thyroid disease and all that stuff since I got diagnosed. I was actually diagnosed with Hashimoto's thyroiditis in October of 2017. So it has been almost a year since I was diagnosed, and this video is just going to be like my diagnosis story, what led me to go in to get diagnosed with Hashimoto's, what symptoms I had. I'll give like some other general symptoms about Hashimoto's, and then I'll kind of discuss like what needs to be tested for and why Hashimoto's is often like gone undiagnosed. So for those of you that don't know that are tuning into this video, Hashimoto's thyroiditis is an autoimmune disorder. It is when the immune system attacks the thyroid gland. So your own immune system decides that it's going to attack your thyroid gland. And I will make future videos, kind of discussing why that happens and, what the research is showing. But basically, that's what it boils down to. So my body, my immune system has decided to attack my thyroid gland. And, you really don't realize everything that your thyroid does until it's not functioning properly, and everything that it does to keep your body at a nice, like, homeostatic, balanced level. So anyways, to my diagnosis story. I'm sorry, by the way, if it's kind of loud in the background. My dishwasher is running, so I'm trying to speak louder so that you can hear me over that. But anyway, so I had graduated nursing school in May of 2017, which was wonderful. I graduated with my bachelor's in science of nursing. And I was really excited. I was like glad that I was done with school. If you've never been in nursing school or don't know anybody that is in or has been in nursing school, it's kind of the worst. It's very hard. It's a very like fast-paced 2 years because you're learning a lot of information in 2 years time. So it's very much so a very hard, program, and you're studying a lot. You don't really have time to have much of a social life. At least I didn't. I studied a lot, and yeah, that's just basically how I spent the last 2 years of college, was studying, taking tests, studying. But anyway, I graduated nursing school and I was looking forward to starting my job as a new grad in the NICU, and I was really, really excited about it. I had worked really hard and I was like, finally, I'm gonna get my life back. Like, I'm gonna have some freedom, I'm gonna have some downtime. I won't have to, worry about living on a student budget anymore either, because, if you had never been to college, it's hard to work and go to school at the same time and support yourself. But, I was really looking forward to that being done and to being able to support myself financially and to have a life again and get to spend time with my boyfriend, and, I was really excited. So actually I started hospital orientation at it was the last week of July of 2017, and during that time it was just going early in the morning. It was like an 8 to 5 kind of thing, like all week. And so you would learn things about the hospital and the organization and all that good stuff. So it wasn't like a strenuous thing. It was just tiring sitting down and listening to people lecture at you for 40 hours. So anyway, that week I took a shower and my hair just was falling out at an alarming rate. I've always had a lot of hair, thick hair, and I've always kind of shed, I feel like a decent amount. I've always been like my mom used to always complain, and she still does, about me and my sisters, because she finds our hair everywhere, and we just always kind of shed, but it's never been anything drastic. It's not like I've noticed my hair coming out in my hands, and I did at that time when I showered, and it was very scary, and it was traumatizing. I don't know, it's different when you're a girl and you're 22 years old and your hair is just falling out in this like mass amount, and it just doesn't make any sense why that's happening. So, you know, I thought maybe it was like a fluke. Maybe like I had, you know, an excess amount of shedding that was happening, like, because, you know, it was almost the end of summer and like maybe my hair was just transitioning. I don't know. I was trying to rationalize it to myself, honestly, because I didn't want it to be like a consistent pattern. And so anyway, that's what I tried to tell myself, and it kept happening. And I think I still have a picture, so I'll try and like insert it. To show you kind of what I mean. But it was a lot of hair. Like it was a lot of hair, and that like picture is just like what I was able to collect like in my hands while I was like washing my hair. There's obviously some that I missed that like got into the drain or whatever that like I didn't get my hands on, and it's a lot of hair. So one thing that I forgot to mention is I had been on oral contraceptives from like, I want to say November of 2013 when I got to college, like my freshman year of college, until April of 2017. I only stopped taking oral contraceptives because I wanted to do something different. Like I was interested in doing the IUD. One of my friends had gotten one, and I wanted something that I didn't have to think about every day. I was notorious for, you know, forgetting a day of my pill or whatever, and I know it's like, well, you took it every day for 5 years, how could you forget? And it's like, you forget. So anyways, I just wanted something that I felt would be like, that I felt like it would be like more foolproof and like I would feel safer and, you know, all that stuff. So anyways, I had made an appointment to get an IUD, and I got it like the week before I graduated. So like I guess it was more like the week of graduation. So it was like I got it on a Tuesday, and then I graduated like that Saturday or something like that. Which like I'm happy to make more videos about like birth control and the IUD experience and all that stuff if you guys are interested. But anyways, so I had like done some research on like hair loss and like why it happens in women, and a lot of times it's because of hormone imbalances. So you know, I was thinking that maybe my body was just like still in the process of correcting itself from being on birth control for so long, and you know, those estrogens that are in the pills can actually stay in your body for quite some time. So I was thinking, you know, maybe my body was still kind of processing that out and I wasn't quite balanced. And you know, with the new birth control, which the IUD is a progesterone based birth control, so maybe, you know, my body was just, you know, reacting weird to it, or it just, you know, wasn't sitting right yet or something along those lines. So I was like, well, you know, that makes a little bit of sense. And then I looked into the IUD itself, because like I had found stuff about how birth control, like oral contraceptives, can cause hair loss in women, especially like when you're switching a pill or you get off the pill or whatever. But I was curious about the IUD, so I like did some research, and I found you know, other women who had said that, you know, once they got on the IUD, their hair started falling out at some point in time, and you know, they got the IUD out and it stopped, which I thought was kind of interesting, and I wanted to look further into it. So I found like an academic study that was saying that there was like a percentage of people, of women, who had gotten on the IUD, and it was like a really, really, really small percentage. It was like 1% to 2%, like it was really small. But they had experienced hair loss while they were on the IUD. So I was like, well, maybe that's happening to me. Maybe I'm unlucky. It wouldn't be the first time in my life that I was part of the 1% to 2% that something bad would happen to. So I was like, well, maybe that's happening to me. And at that point, like, I was so scared with how much my hair was falling out, and like, it was really hard to deal with. Like, I have always had really thick, pretty, long hair, and to watch it fall out like that was just like, I honestly like can't even explain it. And I hope that you, if you're watching this, you never have to go through that in your entire life. I would not wish that on anybody. It's awful. and it is a constant like daily reminder that something is wrong with you, that there's something off with your body, and it sucks. So at that point, like, I'd been losing my hair for a couple weeks, and I just wanted the IUD gone. Like, I wasn't going to be rationalized with, you know, I found something that, you know, told me that there's a potential that that's what it could be, and I just wanted it gone. So I made an appointment to go back and see the person who had put my IUD in. And like, I really liked her at the initial appointment. Like, I had a consultation with her, she put in my IUD, she was really sweet, like, I liked her a lot, and I wanted her to remove it. And like, she was a physician's assistant, by the way. She wasn't like an actual doctor, but anyway, like, I wanted her to remove it, and so I went in and told her kind of what was happening and that I wanted my IUD out. And she just like was adamant that it wasn't my IUD. She was adamant that, like, you know, that wasn't a symptom of the IUD. She was adamant that like it had to have been still like repercussions of my oral birth control. She was just like not wanting to hear me out or listen to me at all. And like, I'm a nurse. I have like a nursing background. I don't just like make stuff up or like come up with it lightly. Like, I don't just make these rash decisions. And yeah, maybe it was like a little bit rash because, you know, my hair was falling out, and it was, I wanted that to stop. Like, I was gonna do anything to get that to stop. So anyway, what ended up happening is I left the office crying because she made me feel so incompetent, so inept, and all that I wanted was to get that thing out. But before I left, she did do me one favor and ran a couple of like blood work tests on me. So they ran like a CBC, they ran a what else did they run? They ran an ANA, which is anti-nuclear antibody or antigen. I can't remember what the last A stands for, but it's a test to basically like test for autoimmune type diseases. Usually it's positive or higher in people with lupus or scleroderma. She was thinking maybe I had alopecia, but I wasn't losing my hair like in like a condensed area. It was like diffuse shedding because I didn't have any bald spots or anything, and I still don't. But anyway, so she wanted to see what that was looking like. She tested my ferritin, which your ferritin measures your iron storage levels in your body, and when that's off in women tend to lose their hair. And then she tested my thyroid. So she ran a TSH, which is thyroid stimulating hormone, and she ran a T3, I think, or T4 or something like that, which is one of the hormones that the thyroid produces. So I, you know, waited a couple weeks for the results, and like, you know, you're able to check a lot of these results online, so I was kind of keeping up to date with it and like checking on it. And like, the results came in faster than she ended up getting back to me, and I saw my results, and the only things that were off were my ANA was high and my TSH was out of range. So the range that she tested me for, like for what TSH should be, it was 0.4 to 5, I believe, and my TSH was 5.882. So I was like, at this point, like, subclinical hypothyroid is what they would classify me as. So that was off. And then my ANA was high, like I said. And my ANA was 320, I believe. And I can't remember what like normal is. I feel like it's something like less than 60 or something like that, less than 90. Maybe it's even less than that, but my ANA was high. The thing is though, is like, I looked further into it because I was interested, like what the readings meant, and it can go all the way up into like the thousands, because it's a ratio. So anyway, my ratio ended up being 320, and like in the scale of it all, that's like in the middle. So what that essentially could mean, based on like the Academy of Rheumatology, I believe is where I found that information, or some like, you know, prestigious like rheumatology website. What that could mean is that I either have an autoimmune process going on, I don't have any autoimmune process going on, or I could have an autoimmune process going on in the future. So it's like very gray. It's a gray area. But anyways, because there are people that have an ANA of 320 that don't have an autoimmune disease. So it's just kind of interesting. But anyway, she ended up calling me and wanted to put me on levothyroxine, which is thyroid hormone replacement for those of you that don't know. And she wanted me to, she put in like a recommendation for me to see a rheumatologist, which to see a rheumatologist within that organization was going to take 5 months, and I did not want to wait 5 months to let my hair keep falling out. And rheumatologists, if you don't know, are people that often deal with like connective tissue disorders. So they're doctors who specialize in some autoimmune, some mostly like connective tissue disorders, which are mostly autoimmune. So like scleroderma, lupus, things like that. Anyways, so she wanted me to go and see a rheumatologist, and I didn't want to go see a rheumatologist because I wanted answers now, because that's who I am as a person. So I did a lot of research on my own, and it just didn't make sense to me that I would have something like lupus or alopecia or whatever. Like I looked into lupus, and you have to have like 7 of 11 symptoms or something like that for them to even classify you as having lupus, and I maybe had like 1 or 2. And alopecia like didn't fit the bill for me because, like I said, I wasn't losing like hair in one dense like condensed area, so I didn't just have like a bald spot here. It was like diffuse shedding, and I wasn't losing hair on the rest of my body. So anyways, I decided to look into it myself, and I was like, well, why is my TSH high, and why is my ANA high? So I just looked at different symptoms online and ended up coming across Hashimoto's. And so, like I said, Hashimoto's is an autoimmune thyroid disease, which would kind of fit the bill with the high ANA, and my TSH being out of range. And then looking at some of the symptoms, like they did fit me. I have had like bowel issues since the end of my freshman year in college, which I'd like to make another video and talk about because this one's already going to be long enough. So I'd like to make another video to talk about that. And then I have had like acid reflux issues, brain fog. Obviously the hair loss was the big thing going on. I've had like some muscle joint aches and pains. Dry skin was something that I was starting to experience, which I never had before. Like my skin was just really dry and still kind of is sometimes. And that was something that I'd never had a problem with before, so it was weird. But yeah, just like what's crazy is it's like super vague symptoms, right? Like it's things that you wouldn't think that has like an underlying cause, because they're not like one system altogether. It's just like different body systems having problems, right? So that just kind of goes to show how much the thyroid really does control and how important it is to your body and to like your overall health. So I don't know if I had mentioned this either, I can't remember, but I was like pretty overweight at the time too. Like I had some problems like with losing weight, and like I would very easily gain weight, so that's kind of a symptom too. So anyways, I wanted to get like an actual diagnosis, and and something that I didn't mention earlier either is I did end up going to another doctor and getting my IUD removed, and it was a man too, and he was much more understanding and just took it out for me, and it was great. So I don't have an IUD anymore, and I'm not on birth control at all anymore, and I can make another video about that too if you're interested. But just like based on stuff that I've read, for Hashimoto's, I don't think it's the best thing for me. But anyways, so I wanted to get like an actual diagnosis from a doctor. I was pretty sure that's what I had, but I wanted to make sure. So I ended up going to a functional medicine doctor, and there's like a specific reason why I went to go see her, which I'll talk about in another video. But I went to go see her, and she was great, and I had like a 2-hour consultation with her, you know, told her about my symptoms, my complaints, you know, things like that, and she asked me a bunch of questions and like did a really thorough workup on me, which I appreciate. And she ran like a full thyroid panel on me. So more often than not, Hashimoto's is not diagnosed because doctors are not running the correct panel. So they're running TSH and they're running T3 or T4 or both of them sometimes, but they're not looking at thyroid antibody levels. So there are a lot of people in this country who are classified as hypothyroid, but the majority of those people actually have Hashimoto's and don't know it. I believe the statistic is something along the lines of 90% or upwards of people that are hypothyroid are actually have Hashimoto's and don't know it, or haven't been properly diagnosed. So she ran thyroid peroxidase and thyroglobulin antibodies on me, so TPO and TG antibodies, to see what my antibody levels were, and my thyroglobulin antibodies came back as high. Normal is less than or equal to 1. Mine were 77, so it's not like terrible, but yeah, not exactly where you want to be. And then my TPO antibodies were also high. Mine were greater than 900, and less than 9 is normal. So yeah, definitely have Hashimoto's. So she ran that. She ran a couple of other tests on me to kind of see where I am. She did like a food sensitivity test, which I'll talk about probably in another video, and then MTHFR. So I can talk about that again, like, or in another video as well, like more in depth, because it's kind of an interesting topic. And I'm already, you know, going pretty long on this video, so I don't want to bore you too much. But anyways, when I went in though for that testing, she did test my TSH again also, and the good thing is it had gone down. It was 4.55, so it was still out of her range, because her range was a little bit lower. It was 0.4 to 4.5, but it was better than what it had been a couple months prior to that. So she put me on thyroid replacement hormone. She put me on a compounded T3, T4 medication, which has been the most beneficial, I believe, for me. And I would love to discuss like medications that you can get put on other than levothyroxine, because the thing is it doesn't always work the best for everyone. Sometimes your body needs the T3, and with levothyroxine your body's only getting T4, which is the inactive thyroid hormone that your body has to convert itself, which when you have Hashimoto's, it doesn't always do that properly. So I basically like just want to get the word out and like help people kind of understand what Hashimoto's is, and you know how to properly get diagnosed. So if you have symptoms similar to me, or know somebody that has symptoms similar to what I did, or you know, take some time to look up, you know, symptoms of Hashimoto's, because like I said, they're kind of vague and it's hard to kind of lump all of them together as being like one root problem. But they are, and you know, I would just suggest that, you know, if you're having issues, or if you're just even curious, to get the thyroid antibody testing done to see where you are, because there are a lot of people in this country that have Hashimoto's or have thyroid disorders. And especially if you're hypothyroid, I would suggest that you go back to your doctor and ask for TPO and TG antibody testing to be done, just so that you can rule out that you don't have Hashimoto's. Because I feel like it's really important to know if you have an autoimmune disease, because the thing about autoimmune diseases is once you have one, you're more inclined to get another. So it's best to kind of put this at a halt and take the fuel off the fire while you can, rather than 15-20 years later find out that you have something like lupus or something like scleroderma or something like celiac disease or whatever. You know, I just hope that this video helps somebody in some way, shape, or form. I apologize for the length of this video, but you know, there's a lot that goes into a diagnosis story, and there's even more that, you know, I'll probably break up into different videos, but this is kind of just the beginning. So this is my diagnosis story, and thank you very much for taking the time to watch this. I know it is long, but I hope that you find the answers that you're looking for, and I hope you nothing but love, health, and happiness. And I will be back again shortly with another video, so please, you know, stay tuned for that. If you're interested in these kind of videos, please subscribe to my channel. I'll put out new videos every week, or at least try to. That's my goal. So anyways, thank you for watching again, and have a great day, guys. Bye.